Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he does come in, that'd be great. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll wait for him on Monday. But oh my goodness, what a crazy day in the world of professional wrestling as we know it. It's been a crazy 48 hours. It started off yesterday as it was revealed that Triple H, Paul Levesque, was going to resume his duties as president of wrestling of talent, taking over John Laurinaitis, who was at the time taking over. He stepped away because of allegations that was going on with him, and subsequently earlier today, we find out that John Laurinaitis has indeed been let go by WWE. He will not be a part of the WWE family anymore. He is gone. He has been let go. Executive Vice President of Talent Relations. That was what John Laurinaitis had. It goes back to Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. He now takes over, which I think a lot of people are excited for. But then this morning, earlier today, the biggest domino and the biggest shocker has finally happened. Vince McMahon has retired, stepping down permanently as chairman of the board and CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment. Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon will now take over the company as co-CEOs of this company. As many of you know, Stephanie was in an interim basis pending the investigation that went against Vince McMahon, and it was over some money that was hush money over, you could say, since 85 to very recently, about allegations of sexual misconduct and some other things that was going down. We've never heard from Vince in his own words. We only had one promo from him on Raw and SmackDown, but he never ever publicly said anything about it until today when he made the announcement on his Twitter that he was retiring from the company and he was leaving professional wrestling altogether. Stephanie now gets the interim label taken away and is now a co-CEO along with Nick Khan. Stephanie spoke for the first time tonight on SmackDown. We'll get into that in just a minute. But more importantly, this is the end of an era as it pertains to Vince McMahon and his run taking over from his father and turning what was a regional, local, territorial company into a global phenomenon. And on top of that, one of the leading companies in professional wrestling today. I will openly admit there's going to be a few people who will miss Vince a lot. And then there's going to be others that felt like this should have happened a long time ago. But whatever you think of him, good or bad, positive or negative, he made an imprint on the professional wrestling scene that no other person has ever made. His legacy has been fulfilled, and what he did for this company, what he did for professional wrestling as a whole, should be admired, appreciated, and congratulated all in one sense. Now, there's going to be a lot of talk about his actions, his attitude, what he did, obviously, with many factors, many wrestlers, and many instances that was the highs of highs and the lowest of lows for WWE. But one thing was for sure. Love him or hate him, you had to respect him. And I think that's the best way to talk about Vince McMahon. He was, without a doubt, a genius and an absolute trailblazer for the world of professional wrestling, especially during the days in 1985 when he did take over, took the risk of all risks by putting, back then, a major event on closed circuit TV before the evolution of pay-per-views by doing WrestleMania in 1985. A lot of people thought that Vince was nuts. A lot of people thought that he was going to bankrupt the company. And he never did. He took the risk and it paid off. And since then, he had through everything. Went through the wars with the NWA. Went through the wars with WCW and the Monday Night Wars. Went through ECW and everything else. And it was his own doing that led him to retire today. Not because of AEW, not because of Ring of Honor, not because of Impact Wrestling, not because of New Japan, not because of AAA. It was because it was his own misdeeds that he did. Just like in the infamous promo that Brett screwed Brett, Vince screwed Vince. And that's why we got what we got today. I think Stephanie will do an incredible job. And she already is an Impact player, well known. And for her to be kind of the on-air CEO of WWE is going to be very exciting. And already, you're already seeing the repercussions of it right out of the gate. Now we know that John Laurinaitis is gone and probably will never come back. The other dominoes have not dropped yet. And I'm waiting to see what's going to happen now. What's going to happen to Kevin Dunn? And what is going to happen to Bruce Pritchard? Will they stay on with WWE, or are they about to leave the company as well and do a whole new reset? I will tell you this. Creatively, if that is the case, I think this could lead to a NXT Black and Gold revival in WWE. And if that's the case, look out, folks. Now things are going to get very interesting. But we'll wait and see. Until then, this has been a historic day. And a day I think none of us thought. We knew eventually it was going to happen. But I think we all were kind of believing that Vince McMahon, the only way he was going to step away is if he was going to pass away. Well, at 77 years young, Vince McMahon has said that his time has come, and he basically said it. Thank you for the memories, and thank you to everyone. Then, now, forever. Together. The 4 slogans and the 4 major words that we watch every time WWE programming begins. And that's what it has always been. from the past of the then, living in the now, as it continues onward and possibly forever, united together as a family, as a unit, as one. Vince, I tip my cap to you, my friend, for all the years that you've done for your service in WWE, and what an impact and a joy I've been, a loyal WWE supporter since 1988. I wish you nothing but your best on your retirement. And more importantly, I wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors. As for Nick Khan and Stephanie, you got big shoes to fill. But I kind of got a very good feeling that you guys will succeed and keep this ball rolling in WWE. Anthony Florio, come on in and give us your thoughts on the big news of the day. Vince McMahon retires Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon, co-CEOs of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, I mean, wow. It is a historic day. I mean, none of us saw this coming. And you're right. The only way we thought that Vince was ever going to be done with the company was if he passed. I mean, that's the only way. But he made the decision to step down, to retire. And, you know, it's obviously it's got to be because of the allegations. I mean, I think that's got to be the reason why. He obviously didn't want that to drag down the company, and that's exactly why he did what he did. And how eerie is this? I mean, 28 years. Tomorrow will mark 28 years to the day that Vince McMahon was acquitted and was found not guilty in the infamous steroid trial. That verdict was rendered 28 years ago tomorrow, July 23rd of 94. 28 years later, he steps down as the chairman of the board and the CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment. And it is a day that will be forever remembered. It's the most historic day for WWE probably since March 26th of 2001. That Monday Night Raw, when Vince McMahon announced that he had bought WCW. And we all remember how that turned out. And now it's 50-50 here. I mean, there are those who are, acknowledging it, those who are, sending their well wishes to Vince on his retirement and wishing him well in his future endeavors and all that. And then there's the other side who's, who are partying like rock stars tonight. I mean, they are celebrating and, absolutely, reveling in this news. And we can understand why they're reveling, because we all know that, there have been so many questionable decisions in WWE, mainly creative, and that pretty much all fell on Vince McMahon, because we were never afraid to call him out on those questionable decisions, the repetitiveness and the campy comedy and the nonsensical filler and the beyond questionable booking decisions on certain events. And we've gone on many of rants about him and the whole nine. But the other side, you have to take into account what he did for not just WWE, but also for the business that is professional wrestling. I mean, we know the story. MF, you brought it up. WrestleMania 1. the big gamble, and that gamble paid off. Just imagine what would have happened if it had not paid off. We wouldn't be doing this right now. Let's be realistic. I mean, all these other companies, exist because of WWE. I mean, paving the way. And, say what you want about him. I mean, there is that part of me that is happy about this, because, we have a lot of us have been very vocal and critical about the PG era. I mean, they say it's been the worst era of WWE ever because of all those reasons I just mentioned, and and all the things that have gone down with it. But with him stepping down, it opens the door now for so many things to happen. I mean, Stephanie now the permanent co-CEO along with Nick Khan, and of course Triple H with taking over as executive vice president of talent relations, and with Vince stepping down, we've already had one domino fall when it comes to his inner circle, his group of yes men. John Laurinaitis, he gone. Dirt Sheet came out earlier saying that Kevin Dunn could be on his way out pretty soon. And if that happens, it could be the end of the road. It could be the end of the line for the last member of that fable, of that infamous inner circle. And that is, of course, Bruce Pritchard. And you get rid of them, oh boy, then what? Then it opens the realm of possibilities of creative. Rumors have been going around about Paul Heyman possibly being a worthy candidate. You bring Heyman in, you give him full creative control, look out. We're on the verge of something really special here. But then again, the same could be said about Triple H. His name has been rumored as possibly getting creative control. Give him creative control, or give him and/or Heyman that creative control. MF, look out. That the nonsense that we sit through every week, the PG stuff, the campy comedy, the repetitiveness, and all that nonsense. Those will all be a thing. All those things will be things in the past, and because they're going to give the fans what they want. What the fans want. They want to see almost a resurrection, if you will, of a rebirth, maybe the ruthless aggression, or maybe even the Attitude Era, for goodness sakes, with the whole TV-14 stuff. TV-14 is going to come into play. There's no question about that. I mean, with Vince stepping down, this is the beginning of the end of the PG era. I believe it. I think the PG era is fallen, and I think we're going to get that TV-14 back soon enough. And if we get that, oh boy, business is damn sure going to pick up. And I watched a couple of noticeable videos today. Of course, first and foremost, Derek Ferreira, of course, talking about it, and then of course JD from New York, 206. He had a lot to say about it. They both had a lot to say about it. They're both celebrating, and they talked about possibly some forbidden doors opening with this. I mean, they even talked about how Triple H could possibly be open to working with AEW or New Japan, have super shows with AEW and New Japan. I remember one of the comments on Derek's video said he would like to see a WWE versus AEW versus New Japan Survivor Series. You do that, holy wowzers. Oh. It would go down as the greatest Survivor Series of all time. It would make 2002 look like an absolute dud. I mean, but make no mistake about it. I mean, change is coming. And it's going to take time. It will take time. It's not going to happen right away. It could happen within the next week or so. It might even go into effect at SummerSlam or maybe even after SummerSlam. I don't know. But what we do know, MF, is whether you like the man or you don't, you damn sure have to respect Vince McMahon for all he did for World Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, the Big Four: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. All those were the brainchild of Vince McMahon. Even though the Royal Rumble match, that was Pat Patterson, but Vince McMahon was the one who made all those events and all these pay-per-view events and all the TVs, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, all the other shows, and of course the rumors about NXT with Triple H. I mean, this could end up being the beginning of the end of NXT 2.0. And a lot of folks have been very vocal about that. You know, we usually criticize the show, although this week's show was actually fairly decent this time around, outside of the specials. And maybe we could see the black and gold come back. They bring that back, business again picks up. So, historic day, no doubt about it, MF. I mean, it's gonna be remembered. We're gonna be talking about this for many, many years to come. And I mean, we're all gonna remember where we were. I mean, we were just, sitting around minding our own business. I'm sure you and Bullock were probably. Well, no, Bullock wasn't working. I'm sure you probably were.
I mean, I actually was off myself, so no.
Oh well, okay. Bullock was long out of his work, and I was just wrapping up my work day when Bullock called me up 4:15 this afternoon to inform me of the big news, and it's a game changer, and that's exactly what I told him. It's a game changer, and the professional wrestling business change is coming, folks. CM Punk, he brought it up in 2011, the domino effect, and this is damn sure the biggest domino effect of them all, and. To Vince, I will say this. I mean, even though none of us liked a lot of the things you did, a lot of the things you did were very questionable, especially, the PG stuff. And, we've been wanting a change from PG for forever. And, of course, the things you've done outside the ring, especially with all these allegations going on. We damn sure have to respect you, sir. And, as loyal WWE fans, and I'm right in the same boat on MF. I started around 88 myself. I started around WrestleMania 4. And, I watched it, my older brother Nick, he's the one who got me into wrestling. We watched it together. We watched pay-per-views together. We used to watch Saturday Night's Main Event together. And some other things here and there, some pay-per-views here and there. But he's the one who got me into it, and I've been hooked on it ever since. And, I've got so much WWE memorabilia, from VHS tapes to DVDs and T-shirts. Of course, the championship belts. You guys know it's well documented about the 3 replica championship belts that I have. And he's the reason why they were available. And I owe some gratitude to Vinnie Mac for putting those things on the market and on shop.com, and I was able to buy them with my hard-earned money, all of them. So whether we like him or not, we damn sure have to respect him and appreciate everything he did for the professional wrestling business. So I'm in the middle. I mean, there's the part of me that's happy because change is going to come, much needed change that should have gone down a long damn time ago. A good 10, 15 years at least. But there's that other part of me that, is respectful and appreciative of all the things that he did for World Wrestling Entertainment and the business of professional wrestling as a whole. So Vince McMahon, I'll simply say this. We thank you for the memories. We thank you for the inspiration. Well, not really the inspiration, but we thank you for the memories and for everything that you've done for World Wrestling Entertainment and professional wrestling as a whole. So we wish you all well. We wish you well in your future endeavors. Spend time with your family, relax, take a load off, and let your daughter and your son-in-law run it. They're capable. Enough is, and with all due respect, in the immortal words of the late great Owen Hart, enough is enough, and it's about damn time for a change. So, not much more to say on it. Historic day. It's going to be remembered for years and years to come. We'll be talking about it. So, not much more to say about it. Michael Bullock, Phenom, come on in. We haven't gotten into any of the reviews yet. We spent all this time talking about the big news of the day, of course. The news that you got the ball rolling on. Vince McMahon retiring from WWE, a day that we didn't think was going to come until he passed away practically. And then, of course, Triple H becoming the new executive vice president of talent relations. Kevin Dunn could be on his way out. That could mean Bruce Pritchard's on his way out, and we all know Laurinaitis is on his way out. And I know how happy you are about that because we all know how much you couldn't stand Laurinaitis. So your thoughts on all this? How do you follow it?
Well, I mean, what can you say, guys? I mean, this has been a historic day. I mean, a day that, like you even said, I mean, that we thought that would never come. I mean, this day all started first with Triple H being named the executive vice president of talent relations, and we all thought that was going to be the main story of the day. But lo and behold, hours later, oh no, that's when the big bomb dropped. When we got the word that Vincent Kennedy McMahon, after all these years, is finally calling it a career. I mean, 77 years old, and let's just say, I mean, like, he's had one heck of a career as the chairman of the board and, of course, CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment. And I didn't get into wrestling, of course, until 1992. That was when I got into it, and that's when it was WWE at the time. And who would have thought? I mean, when Vince McMahon first purchased this company, I mean, I'm sure this is what he dreamt of, the vision of this company when he first purchased it. And yes, I mean, you could say that there were some questionable things that he did, but look, as much as with some of the things that we disagreed on with what he did, you can't help but respect him. I mean, look, who knew where? I mean, when he first bought the company, I mean, who knew where WWE was going to be at during that time? And all it became was what they once said, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment. And that's what it was, whether he as the chairman or, of course, as a commentator. Let's not forget about that. And of course, Florio, I mean, when you think of Vince McMahon on commentary, I think you know who he's best known for working with.
My man, Jesse the Body Ventura, although he worked with so many others, like Bobby Heenan and even Gorilla Monsoon at the 1994 Survivor Series when he dropped the infamous "I Feel Betrayed" bomb on us.
Oh, yeah. Who could ever forget that? But, yeah, anywho, I mean, this is an unbelievable career, but the thing is that there have been some questionable things, and because of that, we all kept wondering, when was change coming? We all thought that the change was never going to come, but here it is on this historic day, Friday, July 22nd, 2022. people are gonna be asking us years down the line, where were you on the day when Vincent Kennedy McMahon retired from a company that he built, and that's not the only thing. I mean, like you said, I mean, what is it? John Laurinaitis is on his way out. Looks like Bruce Pritchard could be as well, and yeah, I mean, change is definitely coming, folks. I mean, change that we thought was never going to happen.
Kevin Dunn too,
and Kevin Dunn as well, and I can bet you right now, boys. And could you imagine CM Punk? I mean, right now he's probably sitting in his home recovering. He's probably like, they waited all this time for change to come. Well, as the old saying goes, guys, better late than never. And I think better days are ahead for WWE. I mean, now with of course, with Triple H, and of course now Stephanie McMahon being the chairwoman of the board and co-CEO of WWE, along with Nick Khan. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think better days are ahead. I mean, I know it's been long overdue, but like I already said, it's better late than never. And we're never going to forget this day, boys, of where we were on the day when we found out that Vincent Kennedy McMahon announcing his retirement. It's the end of one era and the start of something new. So to Vince McMahon, I mean, whether you love the guy or you hate him, and I'm sure he has a lot of guys that hate him, but on behalf of all of us here at TXN Sports World, we want to say thank you, Vince McMahon, for what you did for this great company of WWE, for making it what it is today. I mean, you're the reason why who knows where WWE would be if Vince McMahon did not become the owner of this company. So enjoy your retirement, Vince. Spend time with your family, your loved ones, and especially, of course, those grandkids of yours. So I'm sure they can't wait for their granddaddy to come home and spend a lot of time with them. So enjoy retirement, Vince. So Fletch, as hard as it is to move on, but we gotta. So that's what we're gonna do right here. So yeah. There's really nothing more to say. So let's move right along.
So we start off SmackDown Live from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And as aforementioned, we started it with a promo by the new co-CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, Stephanie McMahon, in the ring. She just basically reiterated what we knew all along. Her basically saying that her father had retired, and she even choked up. You notice she was almost on the verge of tears when she said that. Obviously, the fans booed, and she said that her father founded the company and wanted to thank everybody. And she even went on to talk about, to the guys in the back, the wrestlers, the crew, the guys who sets up the ring, the rigging, the lighting. Even gave a shout out to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee at the commentary table. So she led the fans into a thank you Vince chant. That was the only moment where I kind of felt like was a little cringe. Yeah, I don't think you really needed to do that, but it is what it is. All right. Then we had the Street Profits come out. They cut it a promo, interrupted by Theory, and it led to a brawl because the next thing that happened was the Usos came out, Madcap Moss came out, and all hell broke loose. We had a 6-man brawl all over the ring. It looked like it set it up our main event of the evening. Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit. First fight of the night was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ludwig Kaiser. And Ludwig Kaiser wins the match in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, look. Solid match. Big win for Ludwig. But if you notice, it was because Gunther got involved. Gunther kind of got involved and helped Ludwig get the win. But then after the match was over, so Gunther basically told Ludwig to put his arms down. Gunther removed the jacket, and he just gave him a nice little pat on the shoulder, like, no, you did good. You did good. You did fine. And the next thing you know, Gunther blasts him with his infamous chop. Oh my God. What the heck is that? So, you know what? It's going to come to a point where maybe Nakamura gets the Intercontinental title back from Gunther, and that might lead to Ludwig Kaiser turning on Gunther. So, I mean, this is very interesting how the story played out more than anything else. So, yeah, really nothing more to say. And I'll give this about maybe 2.5 to 3. And Anthony, I give it to you.
And what was that time of the fall again?
9:30.
9.5. All right. Yeah, I'll give it 2.5 to 3. I mean, you're absolutely right on that. Let me find this up. All right. This was a better match than their previous encounter, but the post-match continued to point to an eventual blow-up between Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Yes, Gunther is relentless in his pursuit of perfection, and even the slightest hiccup will result in discipline. At some point, though, Kaiser will defy him and stand up for himself. When that happens, the former NXT Tag Team Champion as part of Imperium will be the most unlikely breakout star in recent memory. And Gunther literally suckered Ludwig Kaiser into thinking he had escaped punishment, only to chop the ever-loving heck out of him on the stage. Oh, fuck. Oh. Yeah, the chop, yes. MF and I, the classic commentary bit, you know how we do it. When we hear it, we do our in stereo, whoa, together. And I would say, did you hear that? And we all know what MF would say. Did you feel that? My God. Yeah. And I had us doing that, no doubt. But I'm thinking perhaps maybe SummerSlam they do this. We'll have to wait and see. So 2.5 to 3 on that. So I would say second best fight of the night on this night. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Kaiser gets the win, but Gunther still takes it out on his protege, and Nakamura and Gunther possibly in the SummerSlam Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, but yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see if that does play out. But 2.5 to 3, I thought it was, like you said, a solid match. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like you said, even in victory, Ludwig Kaiser still gets chopped by Gunther. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, and I'll pose this question for you guys. Would you rather take a chop from the Big Show or from Gunther? I mean, both
God,
of them.
That's so unfair, Michael Bullock.
But to me, and I'll say this.
Are you literally wanting us to die?
Oh, but what I was about to say is, I think I would take neither one of them, because if I took either one of them, my chest would be beet red right now. I mean, so much so it would look like my chest would be bleeding if I took chops from either one of those guys. So if anybody told me to do it, I would say no, thank you. Even if you gave me $1,000, I would still say no freaking way. So, anywho, yeah, 2.5 to 3. Yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I feel bad for Ludwig Kaiser. I mean, even in victory, he still gets chopped like that. Oh gosh, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
All right, we're going to move right on along. Next up was a promo segment in the back. It was a face-to-face. Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. And Anthony, I got to say, it looked like this was pre-taped. It didn't feel like that was live or anything else. But I got to say, what you heard from Liv Morgan is exactly what she said on the Pat McAfee show actually yesterday. She said the same thing, that she was not afraid of Ronda, that she loves the business, unlike her, that I'm not an MMA fighter, I'm not an MMA person, I'm WWE through and through, and that I'm going to prove it to her at SummerSlam. For me, I thought they hit the bullet points perfectly. I thought this was well done.
I agree. The promos from Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan were very solid, perhaps the best of the former's run thus far. Each woman cited passion as their driving motivation, and that should make for, if nothing else, an interesting championship clash between babyfaces next Saturday night at SummerSlam. So yeah, short, sweet, and to the point. So not much more to say here. Bullet, quick thought.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it was a great job by both women here, and yeah, showing how passionate they are. And yeah, I mean, I thought they both did a solid job, and adding build to their matchup at SummerSlam next Saturday night. So there's nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Great decision by putting it not at ringside and leaving it in the locker room area because of the fact that obviously with Liv, she gets a little nervous, she gets a little antsy when the crowd gets a little hyped up. Doing it in the backstage is actually perfect. Same thing with Ronda Rousey. I think Ronda's better backstage than she is on a mic at ringside. And by doing it this way, they actually helped. And it actually was a better for them to do what they did. So all in all, perfect segment to move on. Then Pat McAfee got jumped by Happy Corbin. Corbin comes through the crowd, blasting a boot to the face, throws him right into the barricade, and then laughs at him. McAfee's like, "You son of a no, I'm going after you." So we go into the back, and we got ourselves a little bit of a backstage brawl. It gets broken up by the WWE brass. Dude, you kidding me? Then you got McAfee cutting a promo. He was pissed. He was fired up more than usual. I mean, it's gonna be crazy, man. That's good, dude. They are hyping the daylights out of this match, and I'm for it now. McAfee versus Corbin is actually going to be better than expected, and we're going to see that at SummerSlam on Saturday. Then unfortunately, we had a cutout here. The Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Shanky. The Viking Raiders won the match in a minute 30. We'll move on with that. Then we had another promo segment that was done by Sheamus. He had his boys, Rich Holland and Butch, and basically comes out interrupted by Drew McIntyre. And the thing was, we were waiting for the match. We're waiting for the fight. Well, unfortunately, we're not getting it tonight. we're officially getting it next week. Next week on SmackDown, we're finally getting it. It's going to happen. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Winner gets the title shot at Clash at the Castle. And it ain't going to be a regular match. It is going to be what they called an old-fashioned Donnybrook. No rules, anything goes. Shillelaghs as the preferred weapon. And unfortunately, Drew McIntyre's sword, Angela, has been barred from ringside. Drew McIntyre will not be allowed to bring Angela to the fight going down next week. So fair enough. Actually, a solid segment as well. I think they did a good job with this. But finally, we're getting the match next week, guys. And, and it also opens the door because maybe Theory tries to do a Money in the Bank cash-in. Maybe Sheamus or McIntyre might come in and thwart the attempt. So we'll see. After that, we had Raquel Rodriguez versus Sonia Deville. Raquel Rodriguez wins the match in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll move on from that. Then a promo by Lacey Evans. As it was supposed to be Lacey Evans versus Aaliyah, but the fight never happened because Lacey Evans basically wanted it to cut another promo, but also draws the ire of one Michael Bullock by says, no wonder Tom Brady left this pathetic dump of a city. Ooh! Wow!
Tell me Lacey Evans did not just say that.
Yes, she did. She talked about Tom Brady and talked about how.
Let me say this to you. Lacey Evans.
Uh-oh.
Tom Brady's had a much better career than you've had your entire life. I mean, for you to come out and say, "Oh, Tom Brady had a good reason to leave such a dump of a city." Tom Brady left his mark on this great city, you little bitch. And for you to come out and for you to come out and basically say that, get the you-know-what out with that crap. Oh, as a Tom Brady fan, I am just so disgusted. I mean, if memory serves me correct, and boys, we were there at the Buffalo Wild Wings that night when Brady made his return. Do you think Brady he still had love for the fans in Foxborough, in Boston, and all of New England? I mean, did you really think that he wanted to leave? No, but he made a choice of his own. He went to Tampa Bay, and he's had success there. He's still got love for the fans in New England, so get the you-know-what out with that crap. Move on.
All right. So, I mean, good heel promo, no doubt about it. Then after that, you could see that I'll even say it. Then we had Jeff Jarrett. They talked about that. Then we had, of course, the Maxim male models, but we actually got ourselves a new person, Maxine Dupree. And for all you NXT knuckleheads out there, that's Sophia Cromwell from NXT 2.0. She's now gone up and is now a part of the main roster call-up. So we got that. And, well, we'll wait and see how it plays out. It leads us to the main event of the evening, as it was the Street Profits and Matt Cat Moss versus the Usos in Theory. it was the Street Profits and Madcap Moss winning in 17 minutes. And it was because Madcap got dunked with the briefcase, and Theory was laying them out, only to be met by the alpha male of our species, Brock Lesnar. Now, this caught us all by surprise because of the fact that earlier in the day, word got out that Brock actually left the TD Garden, that he was not happy with the announcement that Vince McMahon had retired, and Brock basically was about to take his ball and go home. He was about to lurch on WWE, and all of a sudden, Brock shows up. I was floored. Florio was floored. Michael Bullock was floored. We're like, wait a minute. I thought we heard that he was gone. We heard he left Boston. How did he come back? What happened?
Swerve, bro.
So now the question becomes is, did we just all get hoodwinked? Did Derek Ferrera get hoodwinked? Did we get hoodwinked? Did Sean Ross Sapp get hoodwinked? Did Dave Meltzer get hoodwinked? Did all the guys who we all thought that this was going to be a bad situation for WWE, Brock shows up at the end of the night to a monster ovation and literally saves SmackDown. He saved the show. He did. That one moment of Brock showing up at the end of the night made it worth it. Made it absolutely worth it for the rest of the night. Even though the rest of the show was a little bit like, that ending and knowing with Lesnar there, dude, that made SmackDown awesome at the end. This was the fight of the night. This was a 3.5-star match. But then to get the Lesnar surprise at the end and the swerve, dude, good call, Stephanie McMahon. I think this has got her fingerprints written all over it more than anyone else. Because remember, Vince is gone. He's not there. So she now controls creative. She probably was able to say, look, she probably what happened was an explosion happened, Brock left, and probably either Triple H or Stephanie probably called Brock and was like, look, I know you're mad. I know you're not happy, but just work with us. Please work with us. Or maybe all this could have been complete and utter BS. That none of this happened, put egg on all of our faces. So we don't know what's truth or not right now. We're still trying to figure it all out. But one thing's for sure. Brock showed up. The crowd in Boston absolutely, dude, that sounded like a crowd when the Celtics went to the NBA Finals. That sounded like the Celtic reaction if they would have won the NBA Finals. That type of reaction. That was insane. That was awesome. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, they last had a moment like that in 2008. The Celtics did. But man, for the match, I'm going to give it between 3.5 to 3 3/4. I was going to give it 3 3/4 to 4, but because of the DQ finish, I'm going to bump it down to 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4. I 100% agree. It was the fight of the night. No question about that. And, it was a action-packed 6-man tag. That also, you can also make an argument that also saved the show as well. Some of the action that went down. I mean, the air Montez Ford gun on the plancha that wiped out both tag teams was hella impressive. And the sort of raw athleticism that has fans excited about his future. Theory dropping off the apron, attempting to preserve himself so he can cash in at SummerSlam, suggests he knew the Usos had been tasked by Paul Heyman was beating him down and wanted to beat them to the punch. And yes, MF, the roar for Brock Lesnar was awe-inspiring. The mood changed. Earlier in the day, very real concern about the future of Lesnar in WWE. By night's end, he was the biggest star on the show, drawing the loudest ovation, and top executives could rest easy after a day of turmoil. Lesnar's arrival all but ensures that he will battle Roman Reigns in the last man standing match for the Undisputed Universal Championship, the main event of SummerSlam. Given the hype and the short turnaround time in which to find a replacement, and the rumor going around was had he walked out, they were trying to they were going to try to reach out to Bill Goldberg. If that had happened, hellfire and brimstone. That's all I'm going to say on that, because so many of these folks would have gone on major rants. Derek Ferreira, JD from NY206, all of us probably. But thank goodness that everything worked out the way it did. And given the hype and the short turnaround time in which to find a replacement, it was damn sure. It wasn't probably for the best. It was damn sure for the best. And while a cloud of uncertainty hangs overhead of WWE right now, one thing is for sure. Brock Lesnar's appearance at the end of the show tonight ended things with the exclamation point it desperately needed. So 3.5 to 3 3/4 for the match, fight of the night, even with the DQ finish. But Michael Bullock, I mean, it wasn't just that match that saved the show. It was also the surprise and out of nowhere appearance of Brock Lesnar that most assuredly saved this show from being another dumpster fire, especially in Boston, which was a massive disappointment considering all the memories and all the history they have with Boston. But Brock Lesnar, thank goodness everything worked out, because if it hadn't, there's a very realistic chance we could have gotten Bill Goldberg instead. Ooh, that would not have been good.
Oh, yeah, that definitely would have not sit well with a lot of people, including us. But thank goodness for that. But 3.5 stars for the main event, even with the DQ finish. But, yeah, I mean, the big surprise was Brock Lesnar showing up. I mean, after all those reports that came out that he had left Boston, obviously with Vince McMahon retiring. So, and like you said, I think maybe Stephanie McMahon had a conversation and basically said, look, work with us and we can make it work for you. So, and it seems like he agreed on it. So he came back, and I'm sure, guys, there's one person who wished that he that he didn't show up. And that one person is Theory. Because, boy howdy, he got parley-booed big time by Brock. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, he took 2 F5s, including one on the Money in the Bank briefcase.
And also got introduced to said briefcase as well.
Yeah, and all I can say to Theory, welcome to F5 City, bitch. Because you just got a one-way ticket there, and all I can say is, couldn't have happened to a nicer person, to a ham and egg or jabroni like Theory. So thank you for making my day, Brock Lesnar, not only for coming back and saving the main event of SummerSlam, but taking out that jabroni Theory. So nothing more to say. Overall thoughts, Fletch.
Anthony Florio, the U lead off. Like we said, going into this, we didn't know what we were going to get. It looked like it was going to go downhill, but man, the main event and the shocker of Lesnar showing up saved SmackDown in Boston.
Yeah, 2 good matches, solid promo from solid face-to-face with solid face-off with Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. The surprise of Lesnar. I was going to give it 5.5, but I'm going to bump it up to 6, and that's mainly because of Brock Lesnar. And of course, The Stephanie appearance, I mean, I'll be honest, I was expecting a little more, to be honest with you, just like when Vince came out that night when that whole thing started last month. And unfortunately, that ended up being a wasted segment. I got to consider that a wasted segment. As much as I love the $1 Billion Princess, always have and will. But, it was what it was. And a final word about the Brock Lesnar thing that I should have mentioned before. The one who really got the ball rolling on that story was Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer. He was the one who threw that all out there. The Bill Goldberg thing, that came from Cultaholic. Cultaholic was the site that I found that dirt sheet on. I actually got that while I was watching the JD from New York 206 video earlier. His source broke it, and I jumped on it, and that's why I shared it with you guys. But for the Brock Lesnar thing, I mean, it's only because it's his. He committed to the match with Roman at SummerSlam, and I think this is his way of fulfilling the commitment. And I'm going to make a bold prediction right here and right now. I think SummerSlam will be Brock Lesnar's last match in WWE. And I also believe that the Tribal Chief will successfully defend the undisputed Universal Championship. But we'll get into that next week when we preview SummerSlam. So not much more to say here. 6 out of 10, and that's mainly because of Brock Lesnar coming out, and that's pretty much it. Even though overall it was more like a 5.5, middle of the road show. But then again, look who was running it: Tweedledee, Tweedledum, Dumb and Dumber, Blubber Love, and Bucky Beaver. Get them out of here. Let's get Hunter and Heyman in there. Bada bing, bada boom, problem solved. Bullet, go.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, mainly because of not just the main event, but also the surprising appearance of Brock Lesnar after everything we heard early in the day. I mean, take Brock Lesnar out, and this was only a 5.5. I mean, but then again, like you said, look who's running the damn show: Blubber Love and that Bucktooth Beaver, Kevin Dunn. Get them out and let Triple H and Stephanie do their thing. So nothing more to say. Let's quickly get to you, Fletch, and then get to Rampage.
6.5 for me. I totally agree with everything you guys have said, so there's really nothing more to add. So we go to Rampage. Started off with a tag team fight: Butcher and the Blade versus Adam Hangman Page and John Silver. Hangman and Silver wins the match in 8 minutes. It was a fine opener. There wasn't really anything too amazing to talk about. It was there. It was solid. It's a 2.5 star match for me. Anthony, go.
Yeah, 2.5 for me as well. Match had some entertainment value for sure, but it was missing something that kept it from being as good as it could have been. Hard to say what that is, but it just felt like they were stuck in third gear and unable to shift into the next one. 2.5, 2 3/4. Bullet, get yours.
Yeah, 2.5 for me. I mean, it was a fine match. Could have been better, absolutely. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on.
Next up, we had Dante Mario versus Lee Moriarty. Lee Moriarty wins the match in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm going to be a little more generous on this one. Solid 3 stars. It was just fun from start to finish. Even when it wasn't perfect, it was still good. And those two have good chemistry. Could be a good long-term feud. Should AEW want to go in that direction? Martin looked great in the match, but it felt like he was purposely holding back from doing as many high-flying spots as he usually would. Perhaps he's becoming a bit more cautious. And Lee Moriarty cheating to win. We're going to have to look into that. So, solid 3 stars. Bullet, your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a solid 3 for me as well. I mean, it was a fine match here, and yeah, Lee Moriarty with the way he won the match we're gonna have to really look into that one. So nothing more to say. It's your Sledge.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it about 2.5 to 2 3/4. That's my rating for the match. Really nothing more anymore to go. Then we had Ashley DeBose and Sky Blue versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. Baker and Hayter wins the match in 4 minutes and 14 seconds. So Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, one and a half for me. I mean, it was a showcase match for Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Obviously, it looks like they're heading towards a match with Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm. So nothing more to say. It's your Sledge.
Agreed. 1 to 1.5. Nothing more, Anthony.
I'm going to be a little more generous. I'll give it 2. I mean, it was not very long, but it did allow all 4 women to have a moment or 2 to shine. It's difficult to see AEW keep giving the women the shortest match on the Rampage card most weeks, but these 4 made the most of the time they were given. Ashley D'Amboise has big time potential. I think she's got the physical skills and the look to be a very marketable talent for any company. And Sky Blue is someone who's been working with AEW for quite some time, but has yet to get a push outside the dark. And it might be time to test her on TV with a few wins to see how she does. So, 2 stars, main event.
It was Jay Lethal versus Christopher Daniels. Jay Lethal wins the match in 9:19. Solid match, good main event. I'll give this easily. I want to give this easily 3.5 stars. Fight of the night for that one. Anthony, it's yours.
Wouldn't quite go that far. I'll give it about 3.25. But I do agree, it was the fight of the night. Both of these men are veterans, so neither really had an advantage over the other in any way. Even though Daniels has 15 years more experience than Lethal, both men have still developed similar levels of skill. Match had more storytelling and logic to it than some of what we see in AEW, but it also had plenty of exciting moments to keep the fans invested. The challenger for the Ring of Honor World Television title this week, tomorrow night, with the lethal injection on Daniels to get the win. And I'll tell you what, it definitely, made me, conjured up a lot of memories for me. Because MF, you and I both remember these 2 guys were 2 of the many pioneers of the X Division in TNA. And all the wars they had. A lot of great matches these 2 had. Not only against each other, but against all the other pioneers of the X Division, like your AJs and your Samoa Joes and your Chris Sabins, your Petey Williams. I could go on down the road. Chris Sabins. So 3.25, fight of the night for me. And that's all there is to say. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 3.25. It was the fight of the night. I mean, great work by both Jay Lethal and Christopher Daniels. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say. Overall thoughts, Fletch.
All right, Anthony, you lead off.
6.5 for me. The matches, they were all solid to good. Nothing was overly great, to be honest with you. The rap battle was a little unnecessary, but it was what it was. Average edition of Rampage, to say the very least, and that's really all there was to say about it. And it definitely warmed my heart to see Lethal and Daniels going at it again. Like I said, I was having flashbacks to their TNA days, and definitely brought back a lot of great memories for me. That's the only real positive out of this show tonight. So 6.5. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 6.5 for me. I mean, it was an okay show. I mean, it definitely could have been better. So nothing more to say. It's your Fletch.
6.5. Totally agree with everything you guys have said. So there's really nothing more to add. One last bit of news I'm going to do is the preview for the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor that goes down tomorrow night from Lowell, Massachusetts. We got Rush versus Ryu Lee. That's going to be a one-on-one match. Then we have the Righteous, Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch. They're going to be going up against Dalton Castle and the boys, and that's for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles on the line. Of course, this one's been highly publicized and highly anticipated. Mercedes Martinez versus Serena Deeb for the Ring of Honor Women's World Title. And we have the Briscoes, Mark and Jay. They go up against Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood of FTR. 2 out of 3 falls for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Then we got Wheeler Yuta going up against Daniel Garcia in a pure rules match. Basically, what it is, it's basically a 1-hour time limit. However, each time that you go to the ropes, you're only allowed 3 rope breaks in the match. After you utilize your rope breaks, basically, if you do submit and get hooked to the ropes, you cannot be saved at that point. So, Extreme Rules match is a 60-minute time limit for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Then we have the Ring of Honor World Television title on the line. Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal. And in the main event for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, goes up against Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club. So that's it, guys. That's the fight card. That goes down tomorrow night on Bleacher Report Live, or if you have it on Fight TV International or regular pay-per-view provider. So, Monday night, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Floyo at 11 p.m. Eastern, immediately after Raw goes off the air. So, with that said, for Michael Bullock and Anthony Floyo, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you on Monday.